All right, the best thing to happen for the home DIY mechanic in a long time has got to be, I have to say, the Quinn socket sets over at Harbor Freight. These things have been just a standout, smashing success. They, back in the day we had the Tecton and Nico and some of the other ones, and these, often what we call the tool truck alternatives, the Icon stuff like that. And the Quinn was designed to be this kind of like Goldilocks middle of the road, just for the average wrench turner in their garage kind of thing. But they came out with 5 master sets, 6 if you include the bit driver set, and why wouldn't you? They got 3 chrome, 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch, and they've got 2 impact, 1/2 inch and 3/8. And when you lump them all together, and then you get something like a parking lot sale, man, it just becomes the go-to default answer. But the one answer that Harbor Freight doesn't have for me, I think anybody else, is good organization. These are giant sets, no skip. There's a ton of stuff. I mean, sets like this, socket trays like this are great. I don't need the magnet part, but often they don't have the same sizes that come in the sets. The sets are too extensive. I'm also not a fan of like on one like this where it goes up to the bigger one and then it flips and the other shallows are bigger into that, so they try to compact the size. It's not my favorite solution. The other solutions you can get the old rail system here. I've got one here. I use a lot of these. They have the basic with the ball D10, or they have the twist lock. Those are really good if you like that. Nice and compact if it fits, in the kind of system and stuff that you want to do. Or they have the one I hate, which is these peg style ones. Tell me you haven't reached in. If you've got these, reached in your toolbox, not been paying attention, and gouged your finger on one of these things. I hate these. They're flimsy, they break, they're stabby, they're junk. I absolutely hate them. There had to be a better way. And then I was like, hey, I got a 3D printer. I bet I could make something. So I'm going to show you what I made. But first, let me give you a quick word from our sponsor. That is MUD WTR. So here's the deal. I've been trying to cut back on caffeine and soda and such, and I was tired of the jitters, the sugar crashes, and all that kind of stuff that would keep me awake at night. And that's why I decided to try MUD WTR here. And honestly, it's been a huge upgrade for me. MUD WTR originally became part of my daily routine because it's made with stuff like organic cacao, masala chai, and these functional mushrooms. They've got lion's mane to support focus, cordyceps for natural energy, reishi and chaga for immunity. Instead of pounding coffee and soda all day, I mix this up and I feel steady. It's only got 35 milligrams of caffeine. It's about 1/3 a cup of a coffee, so I don't have to deal with those negative things anymore. The taste, think spicy chai meets a hot chocolate. I use a little frother, sometimes some milk, turns into a creamy warming cup that feels like a treat in the middle of the day. Plus no sugar, no sweeteners, just USDA organic, Whole30 approved ingredients that support me instead of working against me. So if you're ready to upgrade your morning routine, or better yet like me, my afternoon routine, click the link in my description there or scan the QR code that's up, I think it's up over there, and use my code THEDENOFTOOLS and you'll get 15% off your starter kit plus a free frother for yourself. That's a pretty solid deal, I think. For me, it's been about breaking that cycle, going back to the caffeine, going back to the soda, and just doing too much and feeling the downs that come with it. And that's why I drink MUD WTR, and I think you'll like it too. All right, and we're back. Now this is the first generation that I came up with, and it's basically a box with holes in it. It works, it's decent, but I thought we could do better. Now I went through a bunch of different generations here, a bunch of different revisions and whatnot, and we started adding some color in there, adding some numbers on it. Look at that. Then I'm like, I bet I could do even better on that. What if, and I'm playing with layer heights and stuff. I'm not an expert at this kind of stuff. I've been playing around. Well, I'm like, what about the foam? The foam that you have the shadow, cut out so you can see when you have a missing spot. So what if we made the bottom actually the color high enough so that you can actually see it? Unfortunately, there are numbers on that and stuff. I even added my little bear logo, but I didn't get the layer heights right on it. And I got them even more wrong on this one. And then, there's this one. We did the same thing on this one. We didn't make the layer heights high enough. As I said, we've gone through a bunch of them, but the latest revision looks a little something like this. There we go. This is metric. We got the metric blue. As soon as I look, I can see blue. I know it's a metric set. I've got all my sizes right down the middle, not on the edges there where they're gonna get me when I grab them. Tried to get the little bear logo in there. He didn't come out really good on this one. And this, and if I take one out, I can see the blue underneath. Now, we've done a lot of different things with these. We've done a lot of different versions, as I've shown. Some of the other versions we tried to do some of the shallow ones. Not as thrilled with these. I've never been a big fan of the giant step on them between the deeps and the shallows, but on this case, I went a little too shallow on it. But we did try adding, I'll have to take these out here so you can see. I did try adding in, because I was trying to match the size of the parts trays, a little accessory part there where you could put like a U-joint or something in there as well. But you know, for the shallows, it's not too bad, but we're going to have to step them up. And that's basically what this video is about. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be releasing the STL, that's the files you use for a 3D printer. I'm going to be releasing the STL files for the metric, the large metric, the 1/2-inch chrome metric set. Remember, there's 5 sets in all of the sockets. So I'm going to be releasing those. And for those of you with 3D printers, I want you to play around with them. Give me some feedback. What do you like? What do you don't like? What should we do different? I'm trying to think here what else we've done on these. Let me take this set here. Oh, this is the big hefty set. Oh, missing one. I got to throw that in there. This is up to 32 millimeter in size, 28 to 32. You can hear me. I'm trying to fight off one of those school year colds. Now the kids are back in school. Of course, those are going around. Everyone in the house is fighting one off at one stage or another. But I'm going to take these out here, and I'm going to give you a closer look at some of the design features that we did with this. So besides, of course, the blue, and you can do red and everything else, of course, the colors are not baked into the STL. You have to set them by layer height. And one of the things I did and I learned early on was, you know, I tried to do it, you know, I'm trying to keep these as inexpensive as possible. So we did a 10% infill, and I found that the bottoms, especially on these bigger ones, were too flexible. So what I've done with this is the first 5 millimeters is a 20% infill. Now you can change it, you can go higher, you can go lower, let me know what you think. But what I found is that makes this thing painful on the knuckles. But the top of the box is a lot more hollow because it's just keeping the sockets from going left or right. It's not really holding the sockets. So that bottom 20% gives you some real rigidity to this thing. Then you got the numbers there and you can highlight those. Nice, and of course we got the bear logo. He came out pretty good on this one. On some of the other ones, let me see if I've got one here. There we go. It was this one where it says, let's see if you can see it with the light. I can kind of see it in there. There we go. Almost got it. There we go. Dented tools right there. It's recessed in there. Whatever. I don't think I've got the layer height, not the layer height, but the height right on the smaller boxes. On the bigger boxes, I definitely do. So the plan here is that at all times, we're going to be giving away the STL files. All right, it's going to be, you know, free to use, not to sell, but free to use, and you can make your own modifications and republish them. It's going to be a common use license kind of thing. They're going to be over on, I think it's MakerWorld. That's the site that's done by Bamboo Labs. I got a few other little things over there. Like I've got the stand for my YouTube plaque and a stand for the pictures that the kids gave me and stuff like that. But we're going to put the files over there, and I want you to try, if you're interested, download them, and, you know, feel free to make iterations and post them and do all that kind of stuff. And I want to open this up, you know, kind of, you know, community kind of thing, and come up with something that we can really, you know, find a solution. And eventually we want to do, you know, the other stuff there, the icon stuff and the Pittsburgh jumbo sockets and all that. So you can have a custom build out. Now, one of the things I've done with this, and as far as choosing the size and everything, was I've got the 5-bank tool cart from Harbor Freight. So the idea is fitting this so that when I have 2 of these and I put them in the tool cart, that they're not longer than the depth of the cart. So I can at least put 2 for each slice of the cart, if you would. working my way across. And I do try to kind of keep them the same width for like the large ones, keep it the same large, and then when I get to the medium, they're the same width. And when you get smaller, it gets a lot harder to do. But trying to think not just about the organization of the holes in the box itself, but also in the when it goes in the box. Now, the standards that I'm going with here are a 5mm base, and it's pretty much 5mm base, and then 5mm from each side, and 5mm on the edge. Now, what I do also with these is I do chamfer these, not chamfer, what's the word for it? I can't remember. But I put a roll on the edge on the sides. Not on the front, not down these sides, to keep those nice and square so when you put them in the box. But when you're holding it, if you're holding it one-handed, that kind of makes it feel better. But if you're picking up two hands, it's not really as necessary, so I don't really do it on the edge. Again, it's trying to reduce the build time as much as possible, reduce the cost for printing them as much as possible, get as much as is reasonable in the space while making it functional and fit within the environment it's going to be used in. Now, if you have other suggestions, if you have other sets that you think we should do, maybe you think we should do first. I think we're going to do all the Quinn ones first. But if there's an outcry saying, no, do the icons first, maybe we'll do that. I'm printing these in PET G. This is, now the black and red ones, these were printed in PLA. And I probably should have just done that for all the testing. But I thought I was getting pretty close with these. And I think I am. So I stepped up to high flow PET G with this. Cost is about $18 a roll. And I think the cost for two of these is about $6. So let me know what you think. Is this a solution that you're looking for? Is this something you want for your toolbox? Because I gotta tell you, they look pretty good. We'll have to see once we get the smaller ones done and all that. Anyway, thanks again to today's sponsor. That's what keeps us, doing stuff like we do here. I'll put a link to my MakerWorld page down below. Thanks again to Bamboo Lab, sorry. They're the ones who sent us over that printer, and we've been using a ton of it. Now, just for those who ask, we do have an Elegoo Centauri coming in and maybe a couple other ones, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, if you like what we do here, go ahead and chomp the old like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell on the way out. You all take care, God bless, and as always, shine on.